Tonight in KETK News, investigations is revealing why many East Texas drivers could be at risk on our roads. It's been 2 months since a toddler mom, Kelly Hall, was killed by a loose trailer from somebody else's vehicle.
Since her death, we've uncovered that recent changes to Texas inspection laws may be one of the reasons people are vulnerable. KETK's Perry Elliott-Arani speaks with the Hall family and digs into state laws to learn what may be causing these hitch hazards in tonight's exclusive report.
When a young Cliff Hall met his future wife, Kelly, he was instantly in love.
Unlike probably any other woman that I've ever known, she just had a sense of boldness and confidence about her.
He tells me Kelly gave herself to everything she did, from making sure her children, who she homeschooled, had every experience a kid could want.
If they wanted to play sports or I wanted to go to prom, like she was going to make sure that like we never felt left out or different.
To being a leader in her homeschool co-op, her church, and a frequent volunteer.
I'm just encouraged that she touched more people than I was ever aware of. And that's a blessing, you know, it's a real blessing.
Her kids say Kelly's presence was inescapable.
She'd probably give the advice before we even knew we needed it, but she'd always give great advice.
But now that presence is sorely missed.
We used to like make fun of her. We could hear her like in the other room of the house, like laughing at a TV show or something. And just, you know, how I would give anything to like hear her laugh now.
In March, Kelly was driving on toll 49 when a food trailer became unhitched from a truck driving the opposite way, striking her car head-on, killing her. According to a preliminary report from the Texas Department of Public Safety, the trailer, seen here in the aftermath, was never fully secured to its hitch, and the trailer safety chains, designed for moments like this, failed to stop the trailer from separating from the truck that was pulling it.
It's wrong. It's wrong that all these people are killed by the same factor.
Ron Melanson is an advocate for trailer safety reform and says this accident is a consequence of deeper problems, meaning more Texans are at risk.
And that's heartbreaking. I thought our government wants us to say something and do something, right?
So KETK News spent weeks digging into the case, trying to find how common these dangers are. And we discovered a serious roadblock. There's no public data for how many people are killed by unsecured trailers or failed safety chains, because in Texas, those problems aren't being counted.
This is the form that law enforcement uses every time a crash is reported here in Texas. And there are over 100 codes that officers can use to describe what went wrong, including whether an animal that caused an incident was wild or domestic. But the only code related to trailers is for a defective hitch. Everything else is marked as other on this sheet, leaving accidents like the one in Kelly's case largely invisible.
Why is the data so difficult to apprehend and get a hold of?
Melanson points out that this gap in accident statistics means the only information on trailer deaths in Texas is the number itself, around 55 annually. That's averaged over the last several years. But the exact details of these wrecks and deaths are only available on a case-by-case basis.
I don't think there's a way to know how well the state is doing in regard to the safety chain issue.
Chad Parker is a personal injury lawyer and makes another point. Under Texas law, there is no specific criminal offense for neglecting to secure a trailer that ends up killing someone.
It's left to the prosecutor, and whatever political pressure is brought or not brought, or whatever feelings he or she has about it, to decide whether to bring a case.
If not, the case against a driver could be settled in civil court or never makes it to the courts at all. So the duty to do what's right falls on towers.
I am hauling these fence panels.
Rodney Wooten says he's been hauling his whole life and walks us through the steps of hitching safely, always making sure the hitch matches the size of the ball, installing a safety pin, and crossing your safety chains. Wooten says these safety measures get forgotten or ignored.
I see it all the time. You people hook up to trailers and they don't crisscross the chains, or don't even have the chains on it, or some of the trailers don't have them. And of course, that's why you get your trailer inspected.
But a Texas law that required annual inspections of all trailers weighing more than 4,500 pounds was recently changed to 7,500 pounds, now excluding trailers like the one that killed Kelly.
If we had the law in place at getting every trailer over 4,500 pounds inspected, I do believe that there's a possibility that Mrs. Hall would be here today alive.
For Kelly's family, memories live on, whether it was her lessons as a teacher and a mom.
She taught us a lot of things. I just really admired that, and I remember a lot of those things.
Or one of her many detailed scrapbooks, carefully preserving every family moment.
This is her creativity, her pouring her heart into every bit of that, you know, and for us.
But what really stunned Cliff was what he found after Kelly died. Her prayer journals, several pages just like this one, filled with dozens of names per page of people she was praying for.
It just blew me away because I had no idea that she was really that passionate about that. And I know that made a big difference in a lot of people's lives.
Her faith giving her family comfort, knowing their loss is God's gain.
It was me and him and my dad that were, you know, grieving, but she wasn't sad about it.
I have hope. I'm going to see her again. We're all going to be together someday, and firm belief in that. And there's a lot of comfort in that and peace in that.
Perry Elliott Durrani, KETK News.